Hello and welcome to Standpoints. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Kogi State is always in the news and oftentimes for the wrong reasons. This is not thanks to poor leadership and political crisis that has culminated in all the development of the state and biting economic hardship. The state is in the news again. This time it's over an alleged plot by the executive in connivance with the legislature to remove the state chief judge, Justice Nasiru Ajana, from office. On the show today, we shall be analyzing the political intrigues leading to this feud between the three arms of government in Kogi State and its implication on governance as the state prepares for a governorship election in November. Remember last week we had the Director General of Media and Publicity to Kogi State Governor Kingsley Fanwo and on the show to shed light on the matter. So joining me on today's show today is to discuss more on the issue. I have the National Vice President, North Central Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSUN, Comrade Daniel Ola Adenoye. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, Brian.
Let's quickly get a background to this issue. The House Committee on Public Accounts presented its report on the State Auditor General 2016 financial statement. And this report indicted the Kogi State High Court and Kogi Hajj Commission of financial breaches. And this made the House recommend the removal of the Chief Judge of the state. So that's Nasiru Ajano. Help us understand this impasse between the state government, or let's say the state governor, and the state judiciary.
Yes, in April, I think on the 2nd of April, the House met and recommended the removal of the Chief Judge for some financial infractions based on the audit report, according to them, and the report given to the House of Assembly by the Public Account Committee. And I want to say that the report that was considered by the House of Assembly is a doctored report. As I speak, we have the authentic 2016 audit report from the Auditor General of Kogi State. And the report does not suggest any financial infractions against the High Court, not to talk of the Honorable Chief Judge. So I don't know where they got that report from, because for those that has that authentic report, they should check page 33. That is where all the report concerning the State High Court is contained. And there's nothing, there was no indictment on High Court. It was even the House of Assembly that was indicted in that report.
So what you're saying is that what they have is doctored report, and then you have the authentic report.
Yes, it's a doctored report. I make bold to say that.
In that report which you're saying, it was already reported by the State Auditor General that the Kogi State High Court made huge cash withdrawal to the tune of over 137 million naira from the High Court bank accounts in the year under review. So apparently, if that is anything to go by, this transaction breached the provisions of Chapter 6, Regulation 632, which you have studied, which stipulates that the use of cash payment is prohibited.
Well, let us even go into what they are saying here. One, the withdrawal they are talking about, that is from January to December. It's not that such
January to December, what year? That particular year?
2016. Yes, that does not mean that there is any bulk withdrawal made to the tune of 137 million naira, because even the money coming to High Court is not up on a monthly basis, it's not up to that amount. So it wouldn't have been possible to make a cash withdrawal at a go to the tune of that amount. So it was an accumulated withdrawal. That is for fueling of generator, buying, fueling of staff buses, then money given to those going on seminar, workshops, and the rest of them. So it was the accumulation of this and that amounted to what they are talking about. It's not as if there was a bulk withdrawal, so to say. So they make it, that was why I was saying that the report was doctored. Because when this explanation was given to the auditors that came, they were so satisfied. It was even contained in that report that they were satisfied.
So why do you think this whole thing is now coming up at this particular time between the state government, or is it a matter between the state government and the judiciary, or the legislature and the judiciary? Let us understand that particular multi-issue.
Let me correct one thing. if we are saying the state government, you are talking of the three arms of government.
By that, I mean the executive.
The executive, okay. Well, I don't know why there should be problem, because as far as judiciary is concerned, we don't dabble into whatever the executive or the legislature is doing. We do our own job, because our own job is not in any way, interfacing with what the executive or the legislatures are doing. But we were surprised that this thing is coming up, and it is when the whole impasse started that we started hearing some will say we gave verdict against the wish of the governor, the CJ does this, the CJ does that, and we started hearing so many comments. But we have always insisted that there is need for the governor and the chief judge to come together and discuss, if not for anything, but for the sake of the states. Because the law does not say they must be friends before they discuss state matters. They have their rules of engagement. You are a governor, and this one is a chief judge. They all took an oath. So if there is any problem, there is need for them to come together and discuss it, whether they are friends or not.
What about the principle of checks and balances?
Yes, there is provision for that.
Isn't that what is going on there at the moment? If the legislature is accusing the judiciary of anomaly, and then they are asking the judiciary to come give reasons why this thing is just the way it is.
They have every right so to do. That is, if they are deliberating on the original report by the Auditor General.
So what you're insisting on is that
they can do that.
That report which I just quoted from, or which they put in the public space, is nothing to go by.
Because we have the authentic report, and there is nothing in that report that, before this thing started, we had already known that, because we heard from the failures that they are planning to, indict the chief judge. That was why in December they hurriedly reconstituted the Public Account Committee, which was formerly chaired by Honorable Momojimo Lawal, representing Okenetu. They reconstituted it, and it's now being chaired by Honorable Bello Balogun, representing Ajakuta, who is an errand boy to the governor, because they believe that what they are planning, he is the only person that can actually, execute that plan. They know Momojimo Lawal, who the former chairman, will not do that, because himself was also a victim of illegality. He was formerly the speaker, and he was impeached by 5 members out of 25.
Okay. Let us try to understand it further, because we still seem to be in the dark on this particular issue. Now, the Chief Judge of the state, Nasir Ajano, is believed to be opposed to the biometric verification of judiciary staff. This seems to be the genesis of the problem. What exactly do you think is not in support of this initiative?
He was never at any time against biometrics. The question has always been the modalities. They wrote a letter. In fact, the biometric data capturing came up later. The letter written to us was to the effect that they should submit payroll for pay parade. And we are saying there's no need for us participating in any pay parade. All we get is subvention. Then it is that of subvention the judiciary will pay the staff, and then the overhead costs. So when the issue now turned to data capturing, because it was in a meeting with them on the 3rd January, a meeting with the Commissioner of Finance, that was where I heard the word data capturing for the first time.
In the state?
In the state. We never heard of it. The letter suggests that we should come for pay parade. That was the content of the letter. So it was when we now go for meeting that they told us, the meeting was initiated by the Kogi Elders Forum. So when they came, they said they are asking us to come for data capturing. But the CJ is even saying that, one, if it is data capturing you want, there is need for us to be formally notified. 2, there is need for us to discuss the modality, because we have over 200 courts scattered all over the states. So is it that all the members will come to the state capital, which is Lokoja, for the exercise and then shut down the course, or we go to them? Then thirdly, who is to do it. Is it the GSC? Because that is the only body that has the power to conduct such exercise in the judiciary. This has been the questions begging for answers.
So because they're not answered is the reason why the judiciary has decided to go on strike?
Yes, we as a union, we wrote to them that, one, because before this issue of data capturing even came up, they are already owing us about 6 months' salary. Judiciary was last funded in June. So we are already...
2018?
Yes, 2018. We are already 6 months down. We are saying that, okay, we have no money to feed, to pay our bills, and even fuel the staff bus. We can't buy stationaries. In fact, it became practically impossible for us to operate. We wrote to them that in the light of the above, we are going to shut down the courts. And that was why we proceeded on strike.
So you've been on strike, and that's the question you'll be asking, because there are so many members of staff in the judiciary who will definitely will be living from hand to mouth now. So how have you been surviving since you've been on strike, and all the amounts you've been owed now? I mean, the months which the judiciary has been on strike is now running into 6 months now.
No, I think this is the 5th month.
5th month.
We started
so you're
the strike
owed how many
on
months of
11th
salary?
December.
That's about approximately
It's now
9
10 months now.
When this month ends?
Yes. When this month ends, it
Makes it
becomes
10.
It makes it 10 months.
So have you been surviving?
Well, it's by the grace of God, from friends, relatives, and well-wishers. Because even some staff has relocated back to the village where they can get free food. So some, they are into farming. Mostly the state headquarters the staff in the state headquarters has relocated back to the villages where they have their friends and relations that can be of help to them.
So it's now sounding like it is the state government that is not paying the judiciary the entitlement. But Governor Bello made a broadcast on March the 8th that the monies for several months' salaries for the judiciary staff were intact in the banks. And then he said it is the leadership of leadership in collusion with Jusun, which is your member, which you're a member of, refused to forward the staff payroll for a pay parade. That was what he said in a state broadcast on March the 8th.
The governor is not sincere. Because, one, March 2018, we submitted our payroll to the Auditor General. So we submit our payroll. They have our payroll. What they want is different, because they always come on air to say a different thing. So we have written to them to even have an audience. Even the National Secretariat of this union wrote in February to the governor asking to have audience with him in respect of this matter, but there's no response. But they will be quick to be on air to say they've been begging the union to come, and when they are not coming. They say several months is lying in the bank, but now they are now saying they have 5 months. They have reduced it to 5 months. Initially, they used to say several months, but now that we are closing in, they don't know whether it can even be asked to pay. They are now, the realities are now coming out. They said they have 5 months in the bank. The law does not say you should keep judiciary money in the bank. It said, Section 121 sub 3 said, give the head of courts their money due to them. It did not say spend it for them or keep it in the bank for them. So why is it finding it difficult to obey the aspect of the Constitution that gave duties to others, but he loves the one that gives him right and that office?
Well, you are saying that the governor or the government or the executive is not willing to meet with you, and then they said they're willing to meet with you, and
they are not. We are available.
We will continue on that, and then when we come back, we'd like you to answer what you understand about the sudden withdrawal of police guiding the court premises in Cotton Cafe. You're watching Standpoint. We'll be back. Welcome back. You're watching Standpoint, and I've been talking with the National Vice President, North Central Judicial Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSUN, Comrade Daniel Ola Adinoye. Thank you so much for being in the studio to throw light into some of these knotty issues. But we were just looking at this face-off, so to speak, between the judiciary and the executive in Kogi State. Let us understand, before now, what is the relationship like, or what was the relationship like between the judiciary and the executive before the whole thing seems to have gone awry?
Everything was going on perfect. Because, like I said, we don't have problem with any of the other, of the two other arms of government. We don't have problem with them. The relationship has been cordial. Even the governor, I think last year, sworn in about 3 high court judges. So we have been relating with each other very well. So all of a sudden, the thing turns sour. We don't know what is happening. But we've been hearing so many things. You know, we don't believe in all those rumor until something is made practical. So, but we are beginning to see, I mean, the truth in some of the things we are hearing that is the major cause of the problem. So we
Help
don't
us
know.
understand, what exactly are these truths?
Yes, because the governor is accusing the CJ of, you know, being a PDP member, because he said most of the verdict is in favor of the PDP, like the case of Dino Melaye that he granted bail, of which I don't know what is I don't know the big deal about it, because even the same Dino Melaye was granted bail by other courts in FCT. So I don't know why that one should be a problem. Granting a bail, the granting of a bail is at the discretion of the judge, if there is enough you know, reason so to do. So why holding somebody? So I don't think that should be that should constitute any problem. But politicians, being what they are, they can make mountain out of an anthill, because they reason differently from the way we reason as judiciary.
Well, I assume you're saying this because it seems things are not really going down well between the two of you. That is the reason you're holding this position.
It's not true, because yes, we have been relating well, no problem, and all of a sudden things are, you know, you'll be forced to be asking what is actually happening. And from the people around him, that's what they say. Like some will even tell you, oh, you people think you can't do what our boss want, this and that. So
Anyway,
that's why we are
before we
saying
went on break, well, I want you to make us understand maybe whether you have an insight into the case being investigated by the Inspector General of Police in respect of the sudden withdrawal of policemen guarding the court premises in Kotonkafe.
I was in Kotonkarufi High Court that very day. I was there because when the case came up, I was in Koto alongside with other union ESCO members. Because of the sensitive nature of that case, we met some police officers around the court, in fact about 2 Hilux vans. So they came with about 2 Hilux vans. We met them and our staff from Koto courts, because we have high court, magistrate courts, area courts there. So all the staffs were with us there too. So the case came up. The judge came.
Right.
The case has started. The lawyers has made their argument for and against the motion, and the judge was adjourned for ruling. He adjourned for 2 hours to rule on the matter. When the senior police officer came in to meet the judge and said, well, they've gotten an order from above to leave these premises. In view of that, they are going. So when they left, the judge felt that it is no longer safe for him and the lawyers to sit there and other people who are in the court. So he now have to quietly call the lawyers into his chamber, and he adjourned the case sine die.
So, all the same, who are you consulting? With whom are you speaking to ensure that this issue is resolved? Is it through dialogue, or which means are you exploring?
Well, we've been, like last week on the 16th of this month, we met in SSG's office, and they were still repeating the same old story as to this thing. But we told them that there was never a time the union is against data capturing. But the people, because what is the function of the JSC, for crying out loud? The law did not just create JSC for the fun of it. They have their specific function. And this JSC, the executive has 5 members. That is the Attorney General, 2 lawyers, 2 non-lawyers. Then the judiciary only has 3. That is the Chief Judge, the Grand Cadi, and the President, Customary Court of Appeal. So these are the 3 members from judiciary. Others are from the executive. What is the function of these people? Let them do it. Because you are not paying us directly. You are giving the judiciary subvention out of which salaries are paid. Now you want our data. For what?
Okay, well, because we are really running out of time. You've been in the States, you understand how things are going on in the States and the issue of development as well. How would you assess the development in Kogi State from when it took power and now?
Well, we are only calling on God because, to me, you know, I can't lie, I'm a Christian. There's nothing much on ground, and they know it.
No, but you said sometime in 2017 when Governor Yaya Bello shored up the internally generated revenue from 400 million naira to about 1 billion naira monthly, and then you also said that was nice.
Who says so?
You said it.
No, I have not.
In the report which I read, which you said. But then you know he's doing so well to shore up from 400 million to 1 billion.
Well,
internal generated revenue.
I don't know
monthly.
because there's nothing to show for it. How will I know whether such a huge amount is being generated? It is only when you can see the infrastructures, everything around you, you know, that you can actually attest to the fact that we are making progress in terms of revenue generation. Whether they are generating money or not, who knows? Because you don't see it on ground. You don't have, in fact, everything is practically not working in Kogi State.
The representative of the government on the show, last edition of this show, said that people fail to see it. Only those who are in the opposition fail to see the development going on in the state because the governor is so young and then he's ensuring that everything is well done.
Let me tell you, like I said, we are not politicians. But to the best of my knowledge, if you are doing anything, if there's any development, every eye will see it. And you even, like I used to see, you even see some people from the opposition, they camping. Because even biblically, they say, if your ways are right with God, your enemies will become your friends. So what is he saying? That the opposition refused to say it. Is it on ground? Even the DG that is talking, he's also being owed some areas of salary. He's not being fair to himself. What is he saying?
All right, we've really run out of time. But then how would you like to end this particular issue? Because what the people of Kogi want to see is to ensure that there is good governance at the end of the day, judiciary, executive, legislature.
Yes, let me quickly say this. Last week, about 3 days ago, the NJC committee came. They came to Government House. They went there in company of the Honorable Chief Judge, Justice Nasir Ajana CON, that they want this matter resolved so that the staff, according to them, they were there purposely because of the staff. They said they have feelings for the staff. They want the staff to be paid, and therefore they want the matter resolved. So after the governor has stated his own version of the story, the CJ was to talk, they stopped him because they said that was not even, they are not going into the merit of the petition before them. All that matters is how staff salaries will be paid. Therefore, the CJ and the governor should liaise and form a committee to conduct the biometrics. If that will solve the problem, but that the two should come together and constitute the committee. But the governor said, okay, even another person in the committee suggests how it should be constituted.
We've run out of time. We've run out of time. Really got to go. Thank you so much for coming on the program, and then we hope to see that everything goes out smoothly at the end of the day. Comrade Daniel Ola Adinoyi, the National Vice President, North Central Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Well, that's our package on today's edition of Standpoint. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Bye-bye.